Yuba-Sutter.LIVE's local government live streams are presented by Plumas Lake Self-Storage in Plumas Lake, where lifelong local residents are helping other residents keep things safe, providing indoor storage units, outdoor RV and vehicle parking, moving supplies, and Penske truck rentals. Details at plumaslakeselfstorage.com.
Zoom. When you're called on by the city clerk, you will be unmuted and you can address the council. Whether you're here in person or attending via Zoom and called upon, please give your name clearly for audio recording. You're requested to address your comments to the council and not to the audience. And just a reminder, by state law, the council is not permitted to undertake any action or discussion on any item not appearing on the posted agenda. If you have any documentation you'd like to share with the council, please mail it to City Clerk, 526 C Street, Marysville, 95901. And before we go ask for public comment, are we ready or do you want to wait a little longer?
Oh.
Okay. Madam Clerk, any public comment?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Our first speaker will be Serafin Alvarez.
Yes, sir. Welcome.
Hello, my name is Serafin Alvarez. I'm CEO for Paragon Collegiate Academy. And I just wanted to come and say thank you very much. We had a ribbon cutting for our reopening of our 1945 campus on Monday, November 28th at 8 a.m. Nice and sharp. The weather cooperated perfectly. And the kids are enjoying the new edition of their Ag Science FFA classroom, with an addition a much larger sixth grade classroom. And I just wanted to come by and say thank you on behalf of Paragon Collegiate Academy, because I believe the entire city council was there for our ribbon cutting, and definitely wanted to just share our appreciations. We know your schedules are very busy. It meant a lot to see your guys' presence there, your support, and it was greatly appreciated. So on behalf of myself, staff, and it was neat to hear the kids, and you made a huge impact in your presence there, because it just showed, it made them feel special, and it was they were all excited when they saw the school on the paper the next day and so forth. So anyways, I just wanted to take the opportunity to say thank you for taking the time to come and visit us and getting us started off with the reopening of our campus. Thank you very much.
Sir, I have a confession to make. I did not attend, and the reason matters not. I did not attend, and the next day, when I saw those smiling faces and all my fellow council members in the paper, I hung my head in sorrow, not because I didn't get in the picture, just because I failed to attend. And I hear nothing but wonderful things about your school. Thank you.
We appreciate it. I'm sure you were there and thought, and we appreciate it anyways. Thank you very much. Thank you again.
Thank you. And please come by with any updates you think are important. That's an important part of our community. Mm-hmm. Thank you, sir. Madam Clerk.
No further speakers, Mayor.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay. Just say when. Say when the. Oh, well, then let's not get too deep into this. Give it a few minutes. Someone's going to get a life-saving award. We can take a few seconds.
Yeah.
Ooh, I hear steps. This is going to be a great entrance, isn't it? Yeah, he's going to be dragging the post.
Going to, yeah. No.
Oh, I think it. Chief Sachs, you have the floor.
Is it on? Okay. Mr. Mayor, Honorable Council, community, thank you for coming this evening. Tonight, I have the great opportunity of honoring Officer Ryan Souza with our life-saving award. First and foremost, sorry about the delay. He was dealing with a subject earlier that was harassing some of our business people downtown, and the gentleman decided to pick up a post hole digger and swing it at Officer Souza, foot bailed from him, and it got him into custody, chased him down, got him into custody, had to take him for some medical clearance at the hospital and just cleared that. So I'm glad that you're safe, and I'm glad that the community is safe, that, for your actions today. So that's why we have the delay this evening. So thank you for that.
Barely made it.
Yeah. So for this evening, so back on April 30th, 2022, Officer Souza was on duty. There was a vehicle crash into Ellis Lake near 16th Street. There was 2 male subjects that were in the pickup. They were traveling north, or the northern portion of it, and they crashed into the lake. Officer Souza arrived on scene. One subject was on top of the truck. He began to take all of his duty gear off, just in case he needed to jump into the lake when the fire department showed up on scene. As they arrived on scene, fire department threw out a rope to drag the subject into the shore. At that point in time, they only thought there was one occupant, so Officer Souza put his gear back on. As you can see, with, the vest weighing an extra 30 pounds and everything else we've got to carry, he put it back on, so he was ready for duty. But then the subject said his brother was still in the vehicle. So there was a second male that was under the surface for anywhere between 10 and 15 minutes. Officer Souza saw that there was bubbles coming from that side of the vehicle. He observed the second subject extend his hand above the water, but then he immediately submerged underneath water. Officer Souza, without hesitation, left all of his gear on, jumped into Ellis Lake with all that extra weight on, and swam approximately 20 yards from the shore over to where the subject had submerged, grabbed him up from underneath the water, and brought him to safety. So if it wasn't for Officer Souza's heroic actions that day, jumping into the water, that gentleman, wouldn't be alive today. So my hat's off to you. I commend you for all your hard work. It's one of the things that he's a very humble guy. He doesn't say much about anything. And it wasn't until a long time after this incident occurred that I even knew about it, and several other people, were made aware of it, just because he's that humble of a guy, not to point himself out for doing those types of things. But it was brought to our attention, and it was just another day for Officer Souza. But as you all well know, that's just not another day for us. We're out there to protect and serve, yes, but to take off all your gear, put it back on, jump into the murky waters of Ellis Lake, right? And then, swim 20 yards with all your extra gear on and pull somebody else to safety is pretty heroic. And, I'm honored that he works for us. He's a great asset to our team, and it's a pleasure and an honor to give him this award this evening. So he's truly deserving.
Chief Wood, brother. Chief, Chief, may I invite the council members to come down and get a picture taken with Officer Souza? I think that'd be wonderful.
Your life-saving certificate along with your plaque. I just pulled that out, I'm sorry. And your life-saving thing.
Thank you. All kinds of stuff. You hold on to all that. How can I shake your hand?
I love that. Okay. Okay. Good. Thank you. Oh, look at the little girl. Okay, we'll now move to the consent calendar. All matters on the consent agenda are considered routine and are therefore approved by one motion unless a council member or the city manager first requests that a matter be removed from the consent agenda for separate discussion and action.
To the chair.
Yes, sir.
I would like to remove item number 5.
Item number 5. Item number 5 will be removed and dealt with in the action section of the calendar of the agenda. Maybe. Any other comments before we proceed? What's the will of the council?
So moved.
We have motion.
Second.
And second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All in favor. That's unanimous, Madam Clerk. Okay. We'll now move to item number 5 on the agenda for separate action. The item number 5 is sponsorship of Cotton Rosser Bronze Statue Project. Recommendation is to pass a motion to 1, appropriate funds in the amount of $5,000 to sponsor bronze statue Cotton Rosser in recognition of his contributions to the Marysville community and the greater Yuba-Sutter region. And 2, authorize the finance department to make a supplemental appropriation of $5,000 to the appropriate account. Mr. Shad, and I believe Councilman Stuart Gilchrist, Councilman Gilchrist have something to add. You want to go first, Stuart?
The council member. Well, actually, I'll just give a brief explanation. The Fresno, the Yuba-Sutter Arts Council has been working with the community and our council member regarding the Cotton Rosser statue to be placed in Plaza Park. They've generated roughly, if I've got it correct, about $126,000. They have recently been informed that an anonymous donor is willing to match any donation put forth beyond the date that they've committed to this, up to $75,000 on a dollar-for-dollar basis. This is going to be an asset that resides in our park. The total investment is going to be over $250,000. It would certainly bring notoriety to the community and recognize one of our dear community leaders who has since passed. So the notion from both the mayor and council member Gilchrist was, can the city participate? And the answer is yes. So we're bringing forward an item to sponsor $5,000 towards the statue, which would be matched by another $5,000 by the anonymous donor. So seems like a great opportunity to me. I'll turn it over to Stuart at this point.
Thank you, Jim Shad. One of the most important things is to remember that the $75,000 match must happen. If we don't match the $75,000, then we are only at $120,000. Last time we spoke, it was 110. And so this must be done by the end of this year to make the match. I would like to ask Mr. David Reed to come forward and have a brief discussion about the Rosser Monument. Thank you, Mr. Reed. There is a microphone there.
Was my test run.
Good evening, Mayor Branscombe, members of the council, staff. Great to be back. What can I provide in the way of background or insight?
Why don't you give us the background on the funds raised prior to?
Sure.
And the amount of funds you've raised towards the 75 match, and the endeavor, what you're going through to endeavor to reach that 75.
Great. We got involved, the Yuba-Sutter Arts Council, about 2 years ago at the invitation of Council Member Gilchrist and several other members of the community who are with us this evening. And the committee went through a process to select an artist. We had a meet the artist and unveiling of his model last year while Mr. Rosser was still with us. Fundraising to date, well, the match started October 1st. Prior to that, we had 103,000 on that chunk. Since then, on the match, we raised 13,000, and the Rosser family, with their online fundraiser this last month, raised another 17,000, according to Nicole. So 30,000 there. So that's where we're at. Again, as Stuart pointed out, the match is good till the end of the year. We are presenting to Yuba City, Yuba County. As you know, it's on their agendas. I was at Sutter County this afternoon. It wasn't on today's agenda, but I think it will be in 2 weeks, asking for additional funding. So there may be another 25,000 in the community. That'll give us to 55,000. And I'll make this commitment on behalf of Yuba-Sutter Arts that if there is a shortfall by the end of the year, we are in a position to be able to loan the project sufficient funding to make the match. And then I'm also working on a T-Mobile grant application for 50,000, but we won't know about that until sometime in February or March. So I think with support from the cities and counties, we'll be close enough that we can make up any shortfall and take advantage of that $75,000 match.
Thank you.
I first heard of this matching proposition at a Marysville Rotary Club meeting a couple of weeks ago. And I quickly raised my hand. I'd already earlier this calendar year, I donated $1,000, and I raised my hand and I said, I'll do another 1,000. Well, I got home and I thought about it a little bit, and I scratched out a check for 4,000 additional.
Yes, you did.
And got
Thank
it down
you, Mayor
to David.
Branscombe.
and have been encouraging. And I also called Don Blazer at the Board of Supervisors and told him what was going on. This was news to him. Spread the word.
Sure.
And I don't know if it's by that call, but it's on their agenda now for $10,000.
It is for 10. Yeah, thank you.
And it's on their agenda for $10,000, as I understand it. And without seeming irresponsible with city funds, I'm informed that 10,000 would not be an unreasonable number. And as we talk about this, when a motion comes, I'd like to propose 10,000. It matches it. This is going to be in our city. Our donation will be memorialized with other donations at the very high level. That statue is going to be there for 100 years. It'll be Marysville City Council 2022. And I think it is a noble, worthy endeavor on behalf of the city. For crying out loud, Cotton's Cowboy Corral has contributed a lot of sales tax revenue to Marysville over the decades. I was a little tyke and remember Cotton's Cowboy Corral being there.
You're absolutely right. It's an absolute place-making kind of statue, and with some park improvements we'd also like to make. It's a destination. It'll be
It does something else that we've got that beautiful clock that the Rotary Club put up at 3rd and D. And then this will go on that park. And they are perfect bookends for a piece of property I'd like to see improved. And
yes.
And over the years, that property will change in nature.
Yes.
And these will be the items, these will be part of the attraction in that community. I'm very much in favor of this. I don't know if everybody shares my enthusiasm, but that's my pitch.
I'd like to make a motion.
Yes, sir.
I'd like to make a motion to double the match to $10,000.
We have a motion on the floor.
I'll second that motion.
We have a second. Hold on to your hat. All in favor?
Aye.
Ooh, what do you know?
Thank you.
20,000 with the match.
We'll get there, I assure.
And God bless the county. I'm going to encourage them to jump their number up too.
Thank you, Mr. Reed.
Thank you so much.
Oh, we're just thrilled. And all the work you're doing on this is very much appreciated, David. You and your organization. That was happy. Okay, we now go to a public hearing. Am I doing okay here, Madam Clerk? Thank you very much. All matters in this section of the agenda are formal public hearings and will be acted on individually. There is one item. Members of the public may request to speak when called upon for public comment. When called upon, please go to the podium, be recognized by Mayor. Then state your name clearly for the audio recording before beginning your comments. The matter in this public hearing is amending portions of Chapter 6.04 of the Marysville Municipal Code entitled Sewers and Sewage Disposal. The recommendation: pass a motion to 1, introduce the amended properly numbered ordinance for first reading. 2, set January 3rd, 2023 for second reading and consideration for adoption. And then 3, waive the first and second reading of the ordinance, amending portions of Chapter 6.04 of the Marysville Municipal Code. And Ms. Jennifer Stachinsky, Finance Director, I'm certain you can make sense of all that for us. Please.
That's correct. So good evening, Mayor and Council. So what we're bringing forth is in the past few years, we've been working and have been very successful with improving sewer payments to the city and collections. So this is an administrative cleanup that will allow the council to evaluate when late fees, how they should be established. So currently it reads, whenever a delinquent shall occur for non-payment, a penalty of 10% shall be attached to the delinquent charge, and for each month that such charge remains delinquent. The proposed language that we're asking for is the city council shall by resolution establish the amount of such penalties for non-payment of delinquent service charges. So what's
that mean in English?
Yeah. So what that allows us to do instead of a flat fee is by a resolution, we can come back at any time, evaluate if we want to change these fees, if we want to do a flat fee or a percentage by resolution instead of having to come back and change the municipal code. And it also allows us to put the fee into the fee schedule so it can be evaluated and changed.
Okay, what's the impact on service customers?
So right now it's a 10% penalty for non-payment. We'll be bringing back in January 3rd that it would be a flat fee of $5 for residential and a flat fee for $10 for commercial for being late. It's an administrative fee for us to send out the bill. Instead of providing, if a customer has a $5,000 a month sewer bill and they're late, they have a $500 late fee.
So you got a flat fee instead of having to
correct.
Instead
of having an unfair percentage, we're basically going to go to a flat fee for providing better customer service, and that will allow for better collection for people to be paying.
Thank you. Okay, time for the public hearing. Yes. Public hearing is now. Okay. Public comment first, I believe. Madam Clerk.
We have no public comment.
Thank you. Mr. Vice Mayor.
Jennifer, my question is, you use the example of $500. That would be roughly equivalent to 10 months. So is it a $5 fee per month? Meaning
correct.
Their fee would be roughly $50.
That is correct. So instead of it being, if they were late every month, it'd be a $500 charge. It would be a $5 charge, a $5 charge, or 10 if you're commercial.
Okay. Thank you.
Through the chair. So Jennifer, I understand the late fees, but sometimes the company we contract with, you make payments and then they send you a bill and then they don't talk to each other. I mean, on a couple of different my properties, I know that I have to call them up and say, I pay that. They go, oh, don't worry about it. We cross each other. I go, well, what about the late fee that might come with that? And they go, well, you don't have one, so you don't worry about it. But if that happens to anybody else, how does that work if they cross each other late? Kind of one of those things. I mean, that's a very vague explanation.
Well, for the past few years with COVID, we actually were not doing late fees. So we reestablished late fees recently to be able to do that. Technically, if there is to be a late fee to be waived, they technically would reach out to the finance department, and then we would authorize whether a fee is evaluated or a late fee is removed or not. So that would be a discussion I need to have with them to find out what decisions they're making that they have not informed us with.
Okay.
But technically, you are correct. It should be a late fee, and then finance department would waive it if needed.
Okay, thank you.
Follow up.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded on the item. All in favor?
Aye.
That's unanimous, Madam Clerk. We now. Thanks again, David. We now move to committee reports. Councilman Pursuant.
I have no committee reports to report.
Okay, we'll jump around here. Vice Mayor Betticavoli.
I have no committee to report on. Thank you.
Councilman Stuart Gilchrist.
I have no reports, no committee reports today.
Councilman Brad Hudson.
I follow suit with nothing.
Nor do I. Madam Clerk, anything on council correspondence?
None for this meeting, Mayor.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. City Manager, do you have anything to share?
I do.
There you go.
I'm going to be the spoil sport here. A few things. We have been actively working on grants, various grants. Just wanted to give you guys an update. We applied for a SACOG related mode shift grant to attempt to address some of the traffic calming issues in the area of 14th Street and, between 14th and 10th and D to the levee. That one has been submitted. We are also working on SACOG related maintenance and modernization grant. And that we are proposing enhancements to our 22nd Street planned paving project. That grant is available up to $5 million. And so our new public works director is working to do some traffic calming as well as see if we can pave farther than we originally anticipated with our own funding. Another SACOG related grant, community design grant. We have applied for that in the past. We've used it for various things, including facade improvements and Gavin Park improvements. We are anticipating proposing some improvements to the downtown area. Once again, dealing with enhancement to that area to make it more safe from a traffic perspective and a walkability perspective, and more inviting. We, on that particular grant, we've typically applied for $100,000. I'm not sure if that was the limit in the past, but there is an option to apply for more, 250, I believe. there is a match required, which is 10% or 11%.
City manager is 11.47.
11.4%. So our feeling is we would want to apply for the full $250,000 and match that and get more bang for our buck, leverage our money. We have also asked the Marysville Business Alliance business owners for input on that grant, since it affects them, and we're waiting to hear from them as to what their thoughts on enhancements would be.
Jim, could I ask you a question on that? Is that the one that we've talked about these downtown trash cans?
Actually, that one was already submitted through Cal Recycle. So that's a separate grant that's already been applied for. Some of the things we've discussed so far are removable bollards on D Street to allow us to block off traffic when we would like to. More lighting in the downtown area, potentially raise sidewalks to slow traffic down. Those are the types of things we're looking at. That's the grant is very flexible on what we use the money for. So we're also wanting input from the businesses to see what their thoughts are. The general consensus is, how do we make it a more safe, more walkable area to attract more business, particularly if we're developing housing in that area. We want to make it a place where people can frequent. Couple of others, FracMed, we have some engine replacements. That was a grant that we had already been working on. We're finally getting some information to them related to engine information. It's really replacing dirty diesel engines with newer, cleaner diesel engines. We get nice new engines for our flood control and sewer facilities, which, as you might imagine, need to be reliable. And then last, we're looking at a Prop 64 grant. We already have one with in conjunction with YCOE. There's another round of that funding coming up, and we would like to apply for more funding related to that.
You're speaking in code. What's Prop 64?
Prop 64, I have it here. I guess I should have read it. Public Health and Safety Program Cohort number 3 through the State Board of State and Community Corrections. It's cannabis related. It is funding to provide more healthy opportunities for youth, if I were to come up with a overall description of it. So that's the grants. I did want to also mention that the Drake's tryouts are Saturday at 8 o'clock. So any of you council members that feel up to it, you can potentially get a jersey out of it.
Do we know if they're going to hold them or not? I'm a duck hunter, so I pay very close attention to the weather, and it's going to be 100% rain and 30-mile-an-hour winds. So
good question.
I'm wondering if they're going to hold fast on that.
I will. We'll see if we can ask Andrew from the Drakes if it's rain or shine. If I were him, I would at least get people's names so that he can move forward. I'm going to let somebody else talk about the parade because I'm sure that I would be stealing somebody's thunder. I mentioned, or there was a mention of a potential special council meeting between now and January. There may be a couple of other items that we would want to discuss, so we'll be reaching out to council members to talk about that. The new fire rigs are very close to being in service, and there will be a push-in ceremony at a date to be determined, and we will let everyone know when that happens. We also received a new motorcycle for enforcement. It debuted in the parade, but our officer wrote 11 citations prior to the parade, so it's already at work, which is just an example of our staff working very hard. Our PD folks have been dealing with significant homeless issues. I heard of 2 today after the post hole digger incident that were pretty significant. Long list of code enforcement activity going on, parking enforcement, and lastly, traffic. And our traffic enforcement, we are going to continue to ramp up. Our city attorney has corresponded with the district courts to communicate that we will be enforcing speed limit within our local roads. The local judge did dismiss 2 cases on truck routes or lack of signage for truck routes. So we will be requesting from Caltrans an encroachment permit to properly sign. Well, I shouldn't say properly, to apply signage at those non-truck route entrances, even though legally we don't feel it's necessary. So great work from PD and Public Works staff working together to get the enforcement infrastructure in place and get out there and enforce. We will likely be coming to council for some additional funding for radar units and signage that gives feedback to the people regarding speeding, as well as potentially some other traffic calming items. So in my mind, we're moving right along on traffic. That was all I had, and I apologize for taking so long.
You're a busy guy. Council comments. Let's see, we'll start with Councilman Hudson.
So the Buckeye Parade was fun and very wet. But
Christmas parade.
Excuse me. I was at a Buckeye meeting yesterday, so that's still stuck in my head. Sorry.
It's okay.
Yeah. Well, I'm not talking about Fresno. So you
and you.
Of course, they had more time to prep their lawnmower and they had umbrellas on there. I didn't. I was soaked. My lawnmower is still broken down in another facility, not my house. So it was a great time.
You'd already been reelected.
It was a lot. I had a great time with that, and it was good just to fellowship with you guys and just see people come, even though it was inclement weather. And there's, I want to say, several hundred people still out there, and the online streaming was great. Got a lot of comments on it, and I just I want to thank everybody that worked hard to put that on. I know that it's a lot of work with the police department and City Hall and so forth, make that happen. So that was great. Thank you guys for making that happen. On another note, I am working with a gentleman, John Lim, many of you guys know him, to help try and turn the Buckeye event, which is generally a 2-day event, into an all-weekend festival. And so I think some of his ideas are phenomenal, and he's pretty excited about it, and I've agreed to help him out with one little aspect of it, and we'll see how far that goes. But I'm looking forward to just seeing how we can just enhance that phenomenal event that happens here every year and so forth. As for the rest, I just want to, thank you for all the work, and I'm back for another 4 years. Thank you very much for your support from everybody. I really appreciate that. It was a tight race. I almost beat Bruce. So we're good there. And thank you for the constituents in your trust and being up here. And I look forward to just being able to make further progress with this fully staffed City Hall and everybody that's in here and the council and so forth. And that is just awesome to know, and the strides we're making. And a lot of work you're doing there, Jim, and with you and your staff, and working hard on those grants. And Chinzo, welcome. Grants are huge. I'm sorry to hear about the one grant we didn't make with the CBG, with so forth, but that was to help the fire department out with their apparatus. But just keep trudging forward and making things positive. The strides are phenomenal. So thank you. That's all I got.
Councilman Stewart-Gilchrist.
All right. Well, I'm going to jump right into the Rosser Bronze Project. And I have to give credit where credit is due. I was approached by a committee that had been formed quite some time ago Joe Ibarra was the gentleman who approached me and asked me to get involved in helping out with this project. Joe Ibarra, Joseph Faree, Robbie Deutsch, John Nicoletti, and Lauren Perkins.
And Helen.
And Helen, even though, yeah, I believe you were there because you came in much, much later when we decided to bring Yuba-Sutter Arts and Culture in to make sure this happened. And that formed another committee, which is Lauren and Helen, Valerie Sutton, right over here, David Reed, of course, and Vanessa Hilder. And I want to thank you and congratulate you for all of the hard work and the efforts you have done to make this happen. We could not have done this without you. Thank you very much. And that's it. Everyone, you know, one more thing, Public Works. Your team is phenomenal. The light fixtures are being replaced. We can see in the night. This is absolutely fantastic. And then the Marysville Police Department, Officer Souza did an outstanding job protecting the neighborhood today with the hole digger. Thank you, guys. That's it.
Vice Mayor Betticavoli.
I want to start with saying the only reason Mr. Hudson was able to beat me
Almost.
was because as a poor driver, not a poor machine, I got stuck with a choke on.
He's talking about the lawnmower race we had
But
on the streets.
it was driver error, I will say. It
He's
was
talking
driver
votes.
But I want to say we had a blast. Councilman Belza and myself did it last year. Where the asphalt mowers. We brought Mr. Hudson in this year. We hope we can bring you two in next year. It is an absolute blast on those things.
Are we getting direction to find 2 more beat up lawnmowers? Is that what I'm hearing?
Well, at this point, we have supplied our own.
I'm going to ride in a police car, please.
I did.
So it was fun and we had a great job. Chris, you guys did a great job. Public Works did a great job out there. You guys, all the staff. I mean, that Christmas parade was really outstanding. I want to thank everybody that helped get Mr. Hudson and myself reelected. We are glad to be back here on this. And there's one lady out there that really pushed hard for me and I appreciate that. And that's Valerie. So I'm just saying thank you for all your help with the election. So Brad and I both are thankful that it's over. So one last thing for those of you that have not done a push-in ceremony, bring people and your strong backs. We didn't get it in last time. They had to end up starting it up and driving it in because we couldn't push it in.
So will that be on a weekend?
Yeah.
So I don't know, but for those who don't know, push-in ceremony is a long-time tradition that the fire department gets a brand new piece of equipment and it's on the apron in front of the firehouse. And then you have to manually push it in to its parked location in the firehouse. And it's a long-standing tradition. Unfortunately, there was like this 1-inch bump last time that stopped the engine from going all the way in.
Couldn't get it over.
And we need more people, a little bit more momentum.
Yeah.
Not as young as I used to be. So the more the merrier. Go from there.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Anyway, thank you for everything and everybody's